Hello, Smite fans. Welcome on back. North America time is here. EMEA had the morning. Lermy and myself, Malum, we've got the afternoon. In North America, let's hope they don't let us down. And I'm sure they won't because it's Swiss stage. It's been exciting so far. We've had our go lower games. We've had our O2s where you fall to the last chance qualifiers. We've also had our advancement games, skipping right to the playoffs. And you can also get in game. I mean, if you can tell by the fog on my glasses, I'm pretty excited to be here casting Smite 2. So take a turn playing some Smite 2. Exclamation point access in the Twitch chat right now. And you can begin your journey on the battleground of the gods. Follow through on the links there. Enter the code you see on screen, and you are good to go. Smite 2 is yours, and it's time to see what you can do in the battleground. Lermy, what can we do casting? I'm excited. We've got an interesting day of games ahead of us for sure,
Mhm.
and the morning has set us up for a great spot.
Yeah, definitely. We saw a lot of changes from last week as well over the course of those past couple of games and even yesterday as well. I've been really liking to see all of these new priority picks come up,
Yeah.
especially seeing a little bit more of the Anubis like we talked about last week. Still not doing amazing, but he's still there. He did actually receive a nerf just due to how well he was doing in a variety of other modes as well as many other characters. I think Odin being one of the most heavily affected by this set of nerfs, especially because we went through and changed a bunch of the cooldown items as well on Wednesday. And it's been a crazy week when it comes to balance, and it's been even crazier when it comes to the competition.
It has, and speaking of competition, let's look at the bracket and see where we're at, what we can expect, Lermy. And I gotta say that yesterday, Food Drive for Globe getting shut out in game 3 to team name of 5Ms. That was quite the shocker. I was very
Yeah.
surprised seeing that for sure. It took me for a loop, and as you can actually see, towards the bottom of the bracket for the O2 games. We've already got our knowledge of what went down. You see, Employment LARPers will have the 2-0 over Theater Thugs, Mr. Play by Play as well. We saw that yesterday. You know, a lot of talk about Snatty and what that team can put together. They're looking pretty positive, at least at the moment, to keep
Hmm.
alive. But that one side too, Laramie. That's where a lot of the kind of meat and potatoes has happened, and I know a lot of the community is covering the one side as well as a lot of player POVs. So really excited to see how those teams meet up with the 2-1s and the 1-2s as the Swiss stage progresses.
Yeah, I think those will be the most interesting games for it because these are teams that have been knocked down one time already. So I'm excited to see, how they bounce back, what kind of strategies they come to the next games and how they approach it. So I think these games are really the ones that are going to be incredibly exciting.
I'm right there with you. Let's take a look at the schedule and see what we can expect today, how things are going to go down. We're on Sunday. Employment LARPers versus Theater Thugs, Garf's Goblins versus Alec Hate Club, as you can see, both playing that 3 o'clock slot. You look for the 5 p.m. slot, and you'll see Cowabunga, name in progress. No Cowabunga, very popular out there. And off air, you'll have Scrumptious versus Borscht. We'll actually be taking a look at Garf's Goblins versus Alec Hate Club, which is a matchup with a lot of players who they're on that they're on that list. They hit that mark of not many people in the general public knew who they were coming to the Founders Series, but I think of players like Lord Garfield and Sunprod, and they're starting to make names for themselves. So a fascinating matchup between the two of them.
Yeah, I'm really excited, honestly, about seeing this matchup and us getting a chance to watch it too, because I think that again, these teams are the ones that need to, prove that they want to be here, that they're ready to keep it going and make their mark on this Founders Series. So you don't want to drop down into that lower end of the bracket there in the Swiss stages, and of course, you want your chance to qualify straight into playoffs. So their performance in this upcoming set is really going to mean a lot.
My glasses fog one more time. We're gonna have the longest game in history or the shortest game in history. There's gonna be something weird that happens because it is a curse. I cannot get them to stop
Mhm.
fogging up. But at least I can now see the screen and can be on the same page as you. Yeah, the big one for me has been the idea of you aren't eliminated. You go to the last chance qualifier and you've got more time to play for. But also, if you're able to just kind of keep your time in the Swiss bracket alive, that's so much more information, so much more. I mean, scrims are one thing, but
Mhm.
actual game time practice and time to work with your team, you can't really put a price on that. So being able to keep alive, keep it going, and see how you can improve is the big thing, but we got to see how they draft as well. That might be the biggest aspect. Let's head into picks and bans for our first game here for North America, again between Alec Club and Garf's Goblins, and see where the priorities lie.
Yeah, I think honestly we've been seeing a lot of Baron bans, so I'm expecting Baron to not make it through in theory. You never know with these new teams. Baron new to this week, and it's going to be an Anubis ban actually, so they see what we're seeing, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah, they
That
do.
Anubis is very strong in the right hands, took a nerf for a reason. But really the question then goes to Garf's Goblins is, are they going to ban the Baron, or are they taking out someone like Odin, like Neith, like Bacchus? And really it's going to be Fenrir, which I'm going to be honest here, Mel. I wasn't loving the Fenrir over the past couple of weeks and matches that we saw, but I think that it's a fair ban, right? He's still on the upper end when it comes to junglers, but we're going to have to see what Alec Hate Club pick up here because I'm expecting the Baron snap block like that.
I'm with you in the sense of I haven't been a huge enjoyer of tanky hybrid Fenrir. Trelly and I were talking about this a lot yesterday where we wanted to see that damage Fenrir come out and we didn't get to see it quite enough. One thing we did get to see a lot of though is that Odin. That's the first lock-in for Alec Hate Club. For Garf's Goblins though, Yamoja, Baron, both left open and on the table. So maybe an obvious selection, combined the two. Baron's had some good flex potential up to this point for sure. And there's the Baron. So is there Yamoja to follow or maybe a different route you want to take?
Yeah, honestly, I would like to keep the Baron open-ended here. Baron could honestly go any of 3 roles, and so they do indeed do that by picking up Susanna, who, theoretically is the best jungle to follow the Fenrir right behind. But that does leave Yamoja open for Alec Hate Club, which I wouldn't be mad to pick up the double wall, force a bunch of Phantom Shells. Not to say that Phantom Shell is bad by any means, but last week we were seeing 5 of them on certain teams. And walls are walls, I suppose. Ymir's also got one of those, and very, very good character against the Baron Samdi and the Susanna alike, just able to block off any pathways so those two can't get by. But I am curious to see if they pick up a carry here. My thought immediately goes to the Neith, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Hecate or another kind of strong damage dealer.
Hecate has been incredibly popular with North America in particular, but Neith does also fill a big slot for that. Neith allows you some flex too, for sure, in the sense of you can take it ADC or mid and have the same presence because a lot of people are going the same build. I will also add that while Ymir has been a top selection for almost anybody, for Alec in particular, who is the Alec and Alec Hate Club, aka Cosmic Vibes, big time comfort pick on Ymir. Some might even argue a one trick wink wink, so we'll see if that ends up being the case. Lot's still open. The Emoja still open up to this point. You mentioned the Hecate still open. And for ADC, you've got your Jingwei available. You could even grab a Bacchus if you wanted. You've got Solo. The options for Garf's Goblins are terrifying in how open they still are.
Yeah, truly. I do think that regardless of what they pick up here, we're going to start to define the composition a lot more going forward. So Jingwei is kind of our obvious next up choice, right? Where she is just really good all around her. She's great in the late game when she gets that critical chance online. And then, of course, this next pick is really going to be the question. I think if you were to put my bet in the ring, it's going to be Bacchus, but they actually are going to go for the Mordred, which I'm surprised to see. He did receive a nice little buff over in the past Friday patch, I believe was the one. So Mordred is a little bit better now, that's for sure, but I suppose this could still kind of go anywhere. We saw even in the last set that Lazara played the Mordred in jungle. Obviously we have Susano, so that would kind of eliminate that choice, but you never know where this Mordred could go. And over on the other side, Athena is the selection. And honestly, I gotta think about this one a little bit because we've got 3 frontliners right now. One of them's got to be jungle, right?
Has to be, and the Athena I feel like has taken a step up in jungle. Certainly not bad. We've seen it today, but when I go back and I think of previous weekends, Odin looked pretty great in the jungle too. And heck, you could even go with something like a face punch Ymir and do pretty well in the jungle if you wanted to go that crazy route. Like I said though, that is a main pickup for Cosmic Vibes. So I'm kind of with you on maybe looking at the Athena, and the Odin would probably be my second go-to. The Neith most likely going ADC as Cuckoo does get grabbed by Alec Hate Club, and that's been a fantastic selection in the mid lane. And again, especially in North America. While we did see some in EMEA, North America is where I've been thinking of most of the really good Culkins at the moment. And Garf's, I'm sure you're very happy to see it get locked in, Lermy. They grabbed that Hecate to go alongside Mordred. So new and shiny is the play for Garf's.
Yeah, this does help them out quite a bit because I was going to be concerned that they weren't going to get around a lot of these walls. I mean, essentially all of their characters except for Jingwei can't get out, but then they locked in the Hekate, and there is your exit strategy. You drop open the gates, all of you hop through the portal, and you're out of there if you need to be. Of course, you can still use it offensively, but the defensive option is still there should that need arise, right? So the flexibility is what I love to see out of this comp from Garf's Goblins, but I don't know, man. Looking over at Alec Hate Club and what they've got rolling, they've got a very, very tanky front line. They are setting up for these carries, and I just love that style of play. I really think that it works very well, that you protect and you set up. And that's essentially what Three Frontliners does to a T.
I like the call out from you of setup, because that might be the biggest thing for Alec Hate Club. The setup for this, I mean, the Neath is one thing, but Cuckoo, on their own, that character does so much damage. When you've got the kind of setup that Ymir, Athena, and Odin are going to put forward for that Cuckoo, late game, I mean, this Cuckoo could easily have a 40,000 damage game. I know we've seen some Hekate games get as high as 60,000 so far in Founders Series, but this Cuckoo has got to be the watch point for me, because the setup is unreal to where if you hit anything late game, if you can hit any single ability, you should be doing tons, but you've got the ability to hit your Zephyr, drop a Whirlwind the whole time, and probably hit an ultimate as well. For the other side, though, Garf's Goblins, what a team fight composition they bring to the table.
Yeah, they are just going to be killing people, and that's the name of the game, is that they will be doing damage, and the other side's got to be careful that they're not getting owned by it.
Gotta be careful, indeed. Let's see how careful they can be. Game number 1 is ready between Alec Hate Club and Garf's Goblins. Malum, Lermy, and of course, make sure you always thank your spectators of the bunch. Doug alongside us. A lot of invades this morning in EMEA. So far, nothing insane, but eyes will still have to be on that map until we're already deep in and safe and good to go, because that one pick can always be massive, and level 100 Behemoth is on a journey early on.
Yeah, it really does seem like it. I don't know if their plan is to, I guess their plan is to teleport across the way here, see what's going on, but they might actually run into Prodigy here. Hasn't been spotted out quite yet, but neither side really knows what's going on. But us as the spectators, we've got the full bird's eye view as to the strategy here. So it's Athena versus Garf's blue buff, and it's going to be the Susano and the Mordred trying to steal away the other sides as well.
We'll see who gets the better of it. The Athena probably has the best situation right now, just left on an island at that blue. We'll see if they go for red as well, but Losh could use some help from their jungler, the Athena, for sure. We'll just have to concede it. Maybe the red will be the play in the short term for Losh. No Sunder for the side of Alec Hate Club. 4 shells and a purification bead. Garf's Goblins, they've got a blink for the Mordred, but also lacking a Sunder. So a Sunderless game, Lermy, as the red buff is taken away from Losh.
Yeah, both buffs stolen away from Alec Hate Club on that side, and it looks like it might even be the double steal for Alec Hate Club on the reverse side of things as well. If we can just get the back camps here for Behemoth, that's going to be level 2. And Susano's rolled up here, but it's still level 1, but Behemoth does not seem interested.
Just losing more and more farm. Not an easy 1v1 at level 1. You've got one ability to use, but still Behemoth taking a lot of damage, but Hekate too far away. Prod can't aggress any further. Odd, and kind of frustrating to be Sunprod and see that much farm be taken away by the opposing jungle. Now losing the side camp as well in mid. That's significant.
Yes, it is frustrating, right? But to be fair, if we're being completely fair, you guys also did double invade the other side, right? So you give what you get in return in that regards. But, it does seem a little bit more beneficial towards Alec Hate Club in that regard, because it only took 1 person to invade all of that farm versus 2. And great damage here onto the Mordred from this Odin. Not going to be enough to find the kill quite yet. Nice to have the Baron's Brew in the pocket for Garfield to keep them alive, but whew, that was a little bit close.
Yeah, it really was. Also, got to make sure we point out, everyone did buy a Baron's Brew. That was some drama yesterday, speaking of when I was talking about my Kaz with Trellied, where people weren't buying a Baron's Brew. 5 online this time, so a little bit of extra damage to play around with. And mid lane, Sunprod lurking for Tova, but they haven't stepped up too far. There's the look, a full tower dive, engage out for the damage. Is it enough for the kill?
Oh.
Beads out, but that Spell Eater did not do enough damage. At least they get the beads, and Sunprod really didn't take much from the tower either.
Just a sliver of health left for the Kukulkan there. Not able to get that kill as Sunproj. We've seen Proj on this Susana before go crazy, so it's very good to see that he's not able to get the lead going in pure Alec Club, right? But, you know, nothing wrong per se for Garf's Goblins that he's not getting this lead. Just, you know, you want this guy to snowball into a monster, and just not quite enough to do that yet.
Trouble out in duo. A lot of damage on a Killcam Kenny, but he can't fully step up at this level 3 point, and jungler's nowhere to be found. So you can see that from Killcam Kenny. Willing to play a bit aggressive, not be afraid. Another dive onto Tova. No pick there. Sunprod in particular, Lermy, we've got to keep our eyes out this game. Maybe that's the wait. A lot of damage on Killcam Kenny yet again. Stuck at the wall, but gets the wrap off in time. Sunprod's been kind of notable for me of not having fantastic farm on the map, consistently falling behind. So we got to keep our eyes on that throughout and see if the Susano can keep up and get away, for that matter, but does.
Yeah, if you're talking about a character to keep up, Susano definitely can, but here's the thing about when you invade Alec Club. They're going to invade right on back. They'll be ready to protect their buffs on both sides of the coin here. Mario able to pick up the purple, forces the beats there from the Jingwei, and a big fight starting up.
The Athena ultimate out, but the open negates is perfect and brings back 2. Will they go down for a first blood? The Phantom Shells are ringing true, and the first blood actually goes to Alec Club, making a second blood too! The Phantom Shells pay huge dividends, and Tova pulls up massive on the Cuckoo, +2 for the blue side.
Yeah, that was an absolutely massive rotation. Unfortunate ult there from Des. It looked like it was going to be great, but it pulled away both of the enemies from the duo lane, which, you know, they did kind of need in the moment, but at the same time, it also brought them ever much closer to the rotating Kukulkan and the Athena ult while they were at it. So just a very tough situation there for Garf's Goblins. A little bit of miscommunication, it seemed like.
That has to be fixed up, because if you give the Cuckoo any more breathing room after 2 early picks like that, Lermy, I mean, you have to imagine Alec Club are going to look to play around Tova, and we'll see if they do. No pick on the Jingwei, her ultimate was available. And Sunprod actually lurking mid, looking for the kill on a Cuckoo. Slow it down, Typhoon out, damage real good, no getting away this time. First kill for Garf's Goblins, and it goes to the jungle.
Yeah, this is the Sunprod special. Just sit in mid and pick on the immobile mid laner. It feels like we've seen this a couple of times in his past games, so it really is, you know, turning out to be the main strategy here is to get some early kills on the squishiest target on the map, which of course is those mid laners. And, you know, it's working out pretty okay thus far. Gotta make sure that, you know, they continue to push this ever forward into the mid game, but so far so good. Not a humongous gold lead as we stand right now, which I would hope not at the 5-minute mark, right? But you never know.
Sure.
And as we continue forward, it's really going to be all about these neutral camps and how the first gold fury gets contested, which, speaking of, not secured there by Alec Club, and instead Garf's Goblins will happily take it, but a fight is brewing over in duo.
Brewing with the brew themselves. Garf's Goblins tried to pull back Cosmic Vibes, not going to be available to Glacier Strike. Was too well timed from Cosmic Vibes. Continues to keep them safe. Sunprod was lurking as well, who, you know, talking about that farm and keeping our eyes on the Susano. 1 kill over the 2 assists of the opponent jungler, being level 100 Behemoth, but still slightly behind in farm, about a half a level at the moment. I'm really going to stress to keep our eyes on Sunprod, because that's been, I think, one of the bigger hindrances for Garf's Goblins.
Yeah, honestly, I'm really excited to see how this continues forward, but one thing that I want to look at in particular is Sunprod's direct competition in our Behemoth. But hold on, one more time, it's a Sunprod special, trying to go for this mid laner. Oh, and that's going to be the Neathal to take it. Des does secure on the other end, but
and the
Phantom Shell! No way they stay alive there. That is insanity.
Insanity indeed. That works out so perfectly for Sunprod. The Athena was nearby, tried to see if maybe you could clean up the kill, but just not going to work out. I'm surprised we haven't seen a bigger response from Alec Club on the continuous diving of Tova in that mid lane on the Cuckoo. That's the 3rd time we've seen it now, the 2nd death during it. There's no real response from Alec Club. They send the Athena to solo, but Lermy, one thing about Mordred, if that Pursue the Weak is up, you are safe as can be.
Yeah, you've got to be able to body block that one if you're trying to hunt him down, but it's gonna have to take a little bit more than that to kill this Mordred. And speaking of which, I'm kind of surprised they spent all those resources there, but uh-oh, Sun Prod is back, and Tova once again under attack. Gotta run away from 2, but yeah, I mean, there's a reason Sun Prod keeps doing
the
it.
taunt
Those
caught!
are some good kills for him.
Not enough for a kill quite yet. The Typhoon will knock up 2. Maybe that'll keep Sunprod safe, and it does indeed. Dest, plenty healthy. I mean, one thing good about the shield, it works on magic, and magic indeed there. Cosmic Vibes in trouble off the rotation from the Jing Wei. Is there enough for the kill? Life of the party to bring back Cosmic. Meanwhile, Dest has gotten picked up by level 100 Behemoth, who's now back to the main fight. Can the Athena turn it around with Cosmic, who has to ult, but it ults on nobody? Now Talisman to avoid the freeze, and they can just shoot him down. Drunk Diplomat with the pickup on the big-time rotation.
Yeah, Garfield also made a rotation over, and I thought they would have gone for gold off of that, but looks like they're a little bit worried considering Tova has their ultimate here as well, so that secure is pretty dang good when it comes to fighting around Gold Furies. Don't want to be too free to rip a fight on that one, considering the lead is just a little bit in the favor here of Alec Club, and they wouldn't want to send it a lot of bit forward, you know, with an oopsie around the Gold Fury.
You gotta. That's one thing too. As we get further in the Swiss stage, both of these teams, again, they're at a point where it's you have to keep yourself as clean as you can throughout these games, right? Objectives are the big thing. You have to play them clean. Maybe that's why we haven't seen it pulled yet, Larmy. Because if you pull it and you aren't fully committed, you don't have everything for your secure, you could be making a misplay and a mistake and risk leaving the opponent back in.
Sun Proj once again in the mid lane.
I would hate life if I was Tova right now.
It is actually very crazy considering all the times that we've seen Proj come here, but taunted mid lane forces the ultimate Behemoth all the way under tower.
Still diving after Dest. World Weaver out too. Spirit not gonna hit either, so Dest more than safe, but gets tons committed to themselves. That keeps Garf's Goblins in the 4-3 lead for the time being. Will the fight break out further in the mid lane? There's a lot lurking. I'm looking at the Baron, who's hiding, waiting for Cosmic Vibes. There's the engage. The Mez gonna hit. Sunprod goes in. Life of the party too. There's the Glacial Strike. Won't be enough. Cosmic will go down to Sunprod for a killing spree for the Susano. Not even done fighting. A 1v1 in the dual lane. Not going great for Mario, but does get away.
It was about to not be a 1v1 in the dual lane as Proj was rotating over, but going to be alive for now is Mario. Has to be a little bit careful here because the backflip's down for the next few seconds. But it seems like Proj is done. Gonna take a step back for a moment here, but Behemoth also lurking over in this jungle. But speaking of lurking, it's the entirety of Garf's Goblins, minus their solo laner, trying to take down this Gold Fury.
It's a very soft pull. It looks like Garf's Goblins are afraid to fully commit in the face of Alec Club, but the Queen Naga minions are still attacking the Cold Fury, so you've got to be aware of it. If you are Alec Club, because it's now below half health, and you can try to pull it yourself, and they do indeed. Damage now from the blue side onto the Gold Fury, and Garf's Goblins are forced to respond. Open the gates, not enough. Spear of the 9 wins for the confirm, and it goes to Alec Club. And now for the fight, if there is one, as Garf's Goblins just want to get out, but they're getting taunted back, but not quite brought down. A big Gold Fury off of the essentially Naga steal from Alec Club, but Garf's Goblins aren't even done. A dive in from Lord Garfield. Hey, minions, goblins, follow me! We want this fight! Already one down, and the rest of Alec Club soon to follow! The Athena goes down! The Odin might just be next! What a turnaround from Garf's Goblins!
And there goes the Odin. That is a lot of payback for that Gold Fury, and like we talked about before, a little mistake around the Gold Fury might cause a huge swing of things, and there goes the lead from Alec Club, transferring that right on over into Garf Goblin's pocket. Yes, they got the Gold Fury, but no kills in that fight versus 4, and they might even be losing this tier 1 tower here.
That's part of the gold lead so far. You mentioned it a few minutes ago that it hadn't been a significant one, and while it's still not significant, a couple thousand gold in pocket for Garf's Goblins is equaling a few items ahead, but when you combine that, Lermy, with the level advantage that Garf's Goblins got, I mean, the Gold Fury seal feels great, but everything else feels kind of bad right now for Alec Club.
Yeah, it definitely is tough, especially if you're over there in the support role or even just the dual lane in general, right? We're seeing 2 levels for Killcam Kenny over Cosmic Vibes, and even just 1 for Drunk Diplomat, but that could turn into a much bigger lead if they're not careful, right? Because that Jingwei is built for the late game, built to go crazy with the crits. So if we let her go any further, it might be a little bit dangerous.
The fighting continues. The cage is out. Launch gets sent away. Des, not in a great spot. The World Weaver's on the way. Well, the World Weaver said the kill. Teleport's taken by Des, and a magical shield. That doesn't help you against the World Weaver, but the damage not enough for a kill. Meanwhile, Lord Garfield, enough damage for that kill. They were way too deep and paid the price. Another pickup for Alec Club, their 4th of the game so far. And it continues to be the case where it seems like Alec Club are down to fight Lermy despite being behind.
Yeah, and like you talked about before, the lead really is not that big at the moment. And we need to see a lot of these guys pull together here and start to pick some of these bigger objectives off, right? When you can't find a big objective, you make one for yourself and you invade those buffs. And that's exactly what we saw Alec Club do. It looks like Garf's Goblins wants to get a bit aggressive onto the Naga here. Behemoth getting actually incredibly low. Prods in the back, trying to make something happen. Gonna get backflipped away though.
Will he pay for trying so hard? No, it does work out. They get 2. They both go to Dest, and Drunk Diplomat with a shot to the head will bring down their own 2. A double-double. Lots of trouble for Alec Club, and Garf's Goblins continue to roll with their lucky 13th kill. And the Queen Naga, that was the only thing they couldn't get.
Yeah, that was a tough engage for Alec Club. They really did try their best to go for the attack there on the Naga, right? But they got so incredibly low when it comes down to it that they didn't know when to disengage. Sometimes you make a choice and it turns out to be the wrong choice, and I can appreciate the commitment, right? But we saw how badly that went for them.
Yeah, that was not ideal so far. And it begs the question, Lermy, what do you actually change? If we were to try to... It's hard because the fighting's been constant and the fight's a little bit chaotic. If you had to try to dissect for Alec Club, this next team fight, what's the one change, if you could do any change you would do in the team fight? What are you looking at?
They really have to deal with Sunproj, right? Because we've been seeing him just hop around, pick off the carries, start the fights, and really open them up and open the gates there, unfortunately, on nobody. But still looking for that same old pick. And it's been working out pretty decently thus far, but Drunk Diplomat in the middle of 3, just plain stuck. Not going to be able to do too much there. And that's a shutdown for Cosmic Vibes on the Jingwei.
That's a big time shutdown for sure. It does go to Cosmic Vibes, who, as you mentioned, that's the 2nd kill for the Ymir, and shutdown gold is huge, but with the Neath being a bit behind that Jingwei, you imagine it want to go there. We'll see how much it matters for the ensuing fight around the Gold Fury. Already Pursue the Weak finds 1, but the shells are the response. The Athena ultimate too. Does it work out? It kind of does. Mario Bro living for now. Meanwhile, Baron in trouble. Athena in trouble. It's turning again. These fights continue to be chaotic, but Garf's Goblins seem to thrive in the chaos. A double kill for Sunprod. 1 for the Baron, and the last one standing will be Losh. These fights, Lermy, have just looked perfect.
He's just a crazy juke in there, but yeah, that is a 5-0 in the favor of Garf's Goblins, and really you gotta count it as even a 6-0 here, considering that's the Gold Fury taken down by Dest. And now is when this gold lead is starting to get a little bit risky still. Again, not too crazy yet, but each step that they take towards this mid to late game is when those steps get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it gets riskier and riskier, and guess what? Riskier.
Well, riskier. You know, I want to point out too, because I kept mentioning it early on, Sunprod in this game, the farm, talk about not a problem. I mean, 6 kills certainly helps, but a huge lead over level 100 Behemoth. The Athena jungle has just been quiet. Aside from maybe that one dive we saw onto Dest early on, it's just been silent. Is it a full selection thing for the Athena, or is it maybe just a setup thing? What are you looking at? No, I might have to wait for a dead Athena, perhaps. Shell out, taunt there too. Actually, pretty okay Athena, able to tank through a lot of that damage despite not being super tanky herself.
Yeah, she does make it out of there okay, but I do want to actually talk about this Athena build, because I fear that this may be part of the issue, right? I understand that Lifebinder is a very solid item, right? It did lose its cooldown though. So I am concerned that going for the Lifebinder in this spot, yes, it does give you an absolute buttload of health and health regen, and that's always great to have, right? You love to see the tankiness for the Athena, but is that trade-off when it comes to, not having the cooldown, not having the taunts, or the Defender of Olympus or any of that going to be worth it? And speaking of worth it, I mean, if they're not going to trade anything for this kill in the Cosmic Vibes, that's the definition of worth it.
The Pursue of the Week was a bit overkill on the poor Ymir, but it does work out. Maybe Alec Club will try to turn this fight. They're dropping ultimates left and right, but the damage certainly not there. It only is on to the Cuckoo. It's on to the Neath, and they're going to go down one at a time. Garf's Goblins continue to make these fights look just so simple. A double kill for Dest, life of the party to bring back Losh, and you can pop the shield. It won't do much. A triple kill for Dest and a deicide for Garf's Goblins.
Yeah, we've been seeing Sunprod do a lot of work in setting these fights up, but someone that I want to highlight that's been putting all these fights to bed is Dest, for sure, on the Hecate here from the mid lane. I've been just seeing some great open the gates, and the damage is always on point, it feels like. I'm not really seeing Dest miss too much, and that's what you love to see coming out of a mid laner with some really intensive skill shots like Hecate does. A line, plus, the Spell Eater, which comes out as a circle, right? But it's a smaller circle, and it needs to be charged up. Dest having this awareness to put the Spell Eater out early and then use it for the finishing blow is something that you really love to see from a very advanced mid laner.
Hecate just feels so, I don't want to say sneaky, because secret's out on how much damage Hecate can do for sure, but you can so easily forget about a Spell Eater, because the fight happens, everyone's dropping cooldowns left and right, your team's calling them out depending on how calm your comms are, and then the Spell Eater drops at the end, like you said, and cleans everybody up. Alec Club at 19 minutes looking for any gold on the map, and they do find themselves a Pyromancer, but they're fighting off the 10k gold mark, and kills not looking great either. 6 to 23 currently. 1 gold fury apiece. So if you're looking for positives, there are a few to be had for Alec Club, Nerdy, but those few things need to really start adding up soon.
Yeah, I mean, the Hate Club also did kill the Pyromancer, get a bomb on their side, but they've also got a bomb reflexively on the other side for Garf's Goblins as well. So the one-to-one there is pretty nice, but the question is, you see this huge grouping from Garf's Goblins on the right-hand side, is who is going to get this Fire Giant?
Remember, no Sunders for anyone on the map. There is a bomb in the pocket of level 100 Behemoth, who is not there, has ultimate. None of it will matter. Garf's Goblins get the Fire Giant with no contest, but a late Athena ultimate to Cosmic Vibes sets up 2 to just instantly be killed by Garf's Goblins. You didn't even have to be there. A huge misplay there from Alec Club, and they lose their jungler and their support for it, plus the Fire Giant remains around the belts of all 5 of Garf's Goblins.
Yeah, this is looking real dicey here. I am incredibly concerned with how much that Garf's Goblins is going to be able to grab with this Fire Giant, just not prepared for that engagement for Alec Club, and now they are going to pay the price between 3 kills on top of the towers that they're losing on this right-hand side. And they might even go for the Phoenix. Cosmic Vibes and Behemoth are back in just a couple moments here, but not too many other structures to be seen at this point that they might continue forward and try to break open this Nitro.
The fighting has been so non-stop, but it's been very one-sided. We haven't had time to break down the small things. We haven't had time to look at build paths, a jungle movement around for Alec Club to find where things have been going wrong, because it just feels like every time we have the second to talk about it, Lermy, boom, fight, boom, a contest of an objective or something of that ilk. I mean, looking at Mario Bro after that last fight, because I was saying to myself, well, maybe the Neath damage on the defense will help. I mean, you've got Book and Transcendence, and only just now finished the Totem, and that's kind of the story across the chart for Alec Club.
Yeah, it is a tough gold deficit to be in if you're Alec Club. I mean, Garf's Goblins just got the Gold Fury for the 3rd time this match in terms of overall kills, so that means Ancient Fury is up next. And gosh, it's going to even be hard to contest that if you're Alec Club, because the levels, they speak for themselves, right? But the gold lead is what super matters here. And of course, like you were talking about, Totem of Death is a great item when it comes to getting that penetration rolling, and honestly, considering what these tanks have been able to do in terms of freeing up their backliners to make things happen, I wouldn't be surprised if they need that penetration to make things work, but gosh, it is a tough fight. Realistically, if they're able to just sit under these Phoenixes and take a fight where Garf's Goblins makes a mistake, That's probably the best case scenario for them, but that's the question, right? Is Garf's Goblins going to make the mistake? These guys are hardwired, at least from what we've seen thus far, to just run it down and make it work, no matter the situation.
Garf's Goblins drafted a team composition that wanted to fight, and fighting they have been indeed. Alec Club got to figure out some kind of answer. Pursue the weak, and a find Cosmic Vibes early on. Brings the Emir up on the land down. Open the gates is waiting, and look at all the damage finding through. There's the first kill, and the second kill. How many more will follow before the Phoenix even goes down? The third, the fourth, give it all to Garf's Goblins. They cannot be stopped. All 5 will die. That's a deicide for Garf's Goblins. And you can ride up the game too. They've got themselves a minion wave.
Yeah, that was an insane juggling of aggro between the entirety of Garf's Goblins, passing that Phoenix aggro back and forth, making sure no particular member is taking too much damage between the shielding, the healing, the phantom shells, all of those things just very, very impressively used from the side of Garf's Goblins. And they take a very impressive game number 1.
Very impressive game 1. I know there was a lot of talk on Smite Too Long Didn't Watch. We were talking about Alec Club, and in particular, a lot of talk about Garf's Goblins. Trelly and I had this big moment where it was revealed to me that Lord Garfield used to be formerly known as Super Death Thing, and it made the whole team make a lot more sense to me. Super Death Thing was somebody who you could play around in the amateur scene. I one point won I believe they were in the finals for like 5 of 6 major amateur leagues for North America, all in the same weekend or something to that extent. So to see a team named after your namesake and all rally behind that, and even then still have great individual performances like Dest and so on, you can't beat it.
You really can't. And honestly, incredible performance across the board. Really excited to see what Alec Club bring to game number 2, though, because they are not out this yet. They had a very solid early game, especially when it came to contesting all of the little details of the map. So I want to see what they bring in the next set of things, and if they can mix it up, maybe get Sunprod off of the Susano, get Dest off of the Hecate, but we'll have to find out when it comes up.
Yep, and with that, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. More Smite Game when we get back.
Wouldn't lie to you, doesn't matter what I do. She's got a hold on me. She knows how to drive a truck, but she lets me pick her up when we're going dancing. My heart stops beating when my headlights shining on her. She's my country girl. I couldn't tell you what she's doing with me. She's so damn out of my league. She's a little bit crazy on the weekends, dancing in her red dress, and I love the way she looks in my eyes. And I'm feeling like midnight's getting closer, and I just wanna hold her in my arms till the sun comes up. She's a little bit country. got her feet on the ground. I can't get enough of her. She can drive me so wild, just with that sweet smile, and there's nobody else for me. My heart starts racing every time I'm looking at her. She's my country girl. I couldn't tell you what she's doing to me. She's so damn out of my league. She's a little bit crazy on the weekends, dancing in her red dress, and I love the way she looks in my eyes. And I'm feeling like midnight's getting closer, and I just wanna hold her in my arms till the sun comes up. She's a little bit country. Yeah, she's my country girl. She's a little bit country. Yeah, she's my country girl. Guitar. Yeah. All right. Wouldn't lie to you. Doesn't matter what I do. She's got a hold on me. Ah. She's a little bit crazy on the weekends, dancing in her red dress, and I love the way she looks in my eyes. And I'm feeling like midnight's getting closer, and I just wanna hold her in my arms till the sun comes up. She's a little bit country. Yeah, she's my country girl. She's a little bit country. Yeah, she's my country girl.
Immortals have invaded my realm, and my children rebel against me. Dark days these are. But my strength shall bring resolution, and my lightning illumination! Zeus!
Bologna.
Anubis!
Kukulkan.
Saturn!
Hello and welcome back to Smite 2 Founders series. Still Malum, still Lermy to bring you more of a Swiss stage action with North America up top. But does your PC, is it ugly? Do you hate it? Why not upgrade? Why not improve? Why not go Starforge systems? Because that route, it is a gorgeous one to take. I mean, look at that. You saw the advertisement. It looks just like that in person. So why not grab yourself one today? It's the best way to play Smite 2. It's the best PC in the universe. So go to starforgesystems.com/products/Smite today and grab yourself one so you can finally start showing off your PC to the homies in Discord and not feel bad about it. But Lermy, Alec Club, feeling a little bad about game number 1, but lots they can change and improve on for game number 2.
Yeah, we saw Garf's Goblins kind of pop off towards that mid game, right? It started to go just all things in favor of them. We saw Alec fight back a little bit at the beginning of the game, right? We saw them take some even fights, return the invades, set up, and have some advantages for themselves there. But unfortunately, just a couple bad fights in a row turned the game completely in the favor of the Chaos side. And realistically, you can see exactly why. We saw Dest really make their mark on this game with 23,000 damage, but not far behind was Sun Prage, who was able, or Prodigy, sorry, who was able to be right there to carry that early game, right? We saw him do the Sun Prod special and really over and over gank that mid lane, and Tova was clearly not too happy about that. Unfortunately, 2 8-2 for the Kukulkan. I want to see them really trying to focus out Sunproj in this next game and really not allow him to do that anymore, because we saw it over and over and over and over again. And when you see something like that, you gotta do something about it, right? I mean,
You have to have a response of some kind.
a
You can't let
response, exactly.
you can't let Sunprod roam the jungle for free and torture your mid laner. I mean, if that was me in the mid lane, personally, PC's going out the window, and I would have to go to Star.
And then you have to go to Starforge. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Let's head into picks and bans for game number 2 and see what changes are on the horizon. A very interesting decision from Alec Club in game number 1 of not really worrying too much about the Baron that was available. Didn't go banned, and first picked by Garf's Goblins. And the Anubis ban. It's a straight run back of bans for Alec Club.
I'm very surprised by this. I won't lie to you. I do think that the Anubis, of course, is good. It has the stats to prove it, but is it the best thing that you just played against? / would you be willing to allow Garf's Goblins to replay the comp that they just got? Ooh, I don't know. That's a tough one. Me personally, I'm slapping locking the Susano here. Odin was not bad, of course, but oh gosh, this is such a tough draft, right? Because Odin is good. Odin's really, really good, but oh man, they just locked the Susano here, and that becomes a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, just a straight run back of the Baron. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Susano be the lock with it. Yeah, I mean, it's an instantaneous decision from Garf's Goblins. The Odin was good, but then in my brain, I'm with you, Lermy. You had to ban the Baron or ban the Susano, but maybe first pick the Baron and then run the gauntlet to see if you can get the Odin. But Alec Club have already let Garf's Goblins take control of this draft, and they're just going with a salty run back so far with the Ymir grabbed as well. And Odin and Ymir, Lermy, they're not bad characters, but something had to change from game 1 to game 2. You can't run the whole thing back.
Exactly. If I'm Alec Club here, I have to be picking Hecate. If we're not picking Hecate, I am very concerned going forward. I think that Mario had a great play on the Needs. Do not get me wrong, Mario really did hold their own for a long time over in the dual lane. But I'm really concerned here that we're just running it back, and I don't want to see the run back because we saw what happened in game number 1, right? They weren't able to push fully into that late game, and gosh, we might be going the full salty run back at this point.
It does feel that way for sure. With the Jingwei and then the Mordred, yeah, everything's lining up. I mean, so what? Were we going with the Cuckoo here next as well? Or the Athena, then the Cuckoo, I believe it was?
Yeah, that was the order specifically.
For Alec Club. I don't know. I don't know if I can get behind that, Lermy. I'm having some significant problems accepting that could be their draft.
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out.
Please, save me.
Ares. Come on, don't do it. Oh gosh, I'm really trying to be the neutral caster here, but we all watched game number 1. We all saw what happened. And like realistically, I do appreciate a team that's like, wasn't really our game plan that was the problem. We just played bad, right? I can appreciate that mindset, but they need to switch something up here, guys. I'm not sure about this one.
Nothing has changed.
Okay, no, we gotta change.
Bacchus.
We gotta change.
Okay, as soon as I heard, I've never been so happy to hear a loud burp in my ears so badly in my entire. I'm so happy to have heard that. At least it's something different.
Yes.
And the Hecate switch from the Cuckoo as well. Simple, really. We know they don't have the stream open. We're on a delay, but I'm so glad they listened to us from beyond. Regardless, a change up was required for Alec Club and Garf's Goblins. I mean, they got 4 of the 5, so they're still probably pretty happy.
They might be happy to just pick the Cuckoo here. Did I stutter? That time I did.
Stand on business, Lermy. Okay.
Me when I stutter, but I do stutter. Anyway, great comps on both ends, but I'm so happy to see that Alec Club did actually make an adjustment here. I love Bacchus, right? I think Bacchus is a great choice, but I would have been excited to see the Ares pick up. I do think that is a strong contender to lock down some of these super mobile characters, but Bacchus we've seen in weeks past, highlighted by all kinds of incredible players. And doing it right. You know, they've done a lot of damage, they've done a lot of control, and while Bacchus has been nerfed quite a lot over that time period, he's still very strong when it comes down to it.
The flex potential is probably the bigger positive for Alec Club, but I'm having an impossible task of trying to look past the fact Garf's Goblins got a full run back of what was so good in game 1, with the only exception being the switch in mid lane. But as good as Hecate has been, And as good as Dest in particular has been on Hecate, there's nothing wrong with Cuckoo in this scenario. It isn't like it gave them the significantly worse D tier pick over a high tier one. I can't find. I'm looking for the positive. I'm trying to see the light, see the vision for Alec Club Lermy, but it's just not clicking for me.
I mean, here's the question, right? Who's going where for these 3 tanks? Because we did see quite a lot of the Athena jungle, right? Athena jungle is probably the most viable of the picks that we saw, but now Athena's gone, which means it's maybe Odin that's in the jungle this time. I mean, jungler has to be different no matter what, right? But the question is, are they playing Bacchus? I mean, we've seen Scream pick up the Bacchus and play it a couple of times in some matches, so I don't doubt that Bacchus is a possibility at the end of the day, but I think out of our selections here, my choice would probably be Odin. They might be picking Bacchus though.
We'll see what they're thinking, and we can all hope to see Alec Club regain and give us a fight in game number 2, but let's get onto the battleground and see if they do. Still Malum, still Lermy, still Doug, and we're still hoping for the underdogs to pull through in the sense of just make us believers of the composition, right? If you're gonna go for the salty run back Lermy, you gotta have a different vibe. The Odin is in the jungle. You were on the money with that one. Losh taking the Bacchus over to solo lane. On the other side of the map, everything pretty much the same. Again, the Cuckoo instead of the Hecate. Looking at relics, some differences there, Lermy.
Yeah, definitely. We're getting a blink here for this Mordred, able to get a little bit more aggressive on the side of things, but for Alec Club solo laner, the Sunder selection might
Sunder on the map.
that they might choose to invade here, and considering the different positioning here from the solo laner and the jungler of Garf's Goblins, it might actually go quite well for them. It depends, though, if these two are going to make their way into the enemy territory and try to steal away this blue buff. They might just do little swapsies and see what happens from there. But Behemoth, once again, doing the around the world strategy of heading over to the left-hand side, teleporting over to the right, and then stealing away the blue. But they are going to be, once again, fully trading jungles on this right-hand side.
I thought for a second we might see a proxy because of the timer. Because if you want a proxy,
it was really close.
Yeah, if you want a proxy between the tier 1 and 2, you got to get there at the 17-second mark. And I was down for it, Lermy. I was in for the technology, but not the path that Alec Club choose to go. Instead, the red and the blue will be invaded. But as you mentioned, it's just a swapsies. Garf's Goblins get the same exact thing from the other side of the jungle.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting way that they split the farm, though, where we did see that Losh did the entirety of the blue buff and Behemoth did the entirety of the red buff. Well, Garfield actually did split with Prod over in the jungle. We're seeing that Tova wants to try and steal away those back camps, or make sure that the back camps actually get taken by their own team, but Sunprod already there, doing their best to steal them away and forcing both of those mid laners back to their lane as the junglers start to make their way right to the center.
Losh being significantly outcleared. You could tell by the autos not hitting the minions. They were a little nervous to push up to Lord Garfield on that Mordred early on here. Kind of understandable, but at the same time, in game 1, we saw so much attention from Sunprod onto the less mobile Kukulkan. Now it's on to the Hecate, who, say what you want about Hecate, it's tough to dive her at the moment. Maybe we'll see the attention go elsewhere, and solo could be, but nope, right to Tova, right for the run back. Aegis out already from Tova, which means we'll see you in a few seconds.
Behemoth, though, turning up here. Unfortunate miss of the stun there. Gungnir gonna go on cooldown as it flies right past the window of Sunprod. Doing a good job, though, in keeping Tova alive this time, because you know Sunprod's doing the special one more time.
There it is. Almost got the kill, too. Some damage did trade back to Sunprod, which will at least help Tova for the time being. But that mid lane, I guess, is going to be the spot to watch. I thought maybe we would see a mix-up and Sunprod head over, try to put some attention onto the Bacchus and keep Losh down. Because Lord Garfield's certainly somebody to play behind, but no, not going to be the case. And dual lane, we haven't gotten to peek over here much, but it's been kind of quiet looking at the map. There was some pressure from Alec Club. That was the extent, Lermy.
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet over in the dual lane. We might see Sunprod come over and make a little rotation, but Behemoth also has a pretty solid gank as well, considering that Killcam Kenny as Baron cannot be getting out of there. The question is going to be around that cooldown for the Phantom Shell, because if that gets forced over in a dual lane skirmish, that's when the OK button gets confirmed and Behemoth can make that rotation, trap the Baron in the cage, and grab a kill for themselves. But the question is how soon will that happen?
I'd be so sick of it if I was Tova. Anytime I could do damage like that to Sunprod when he shows up in the mid lane, I'd be so happy. I would just be so tired of it.
Jungler's here again.
Yeah, you would hear me screaming in the comms. Like, come on, can I get something?
Just getting jump scared on cooldown really is poor Tova on the Sakate. At least a little bit better equipped to deal with these ganks, having some form of defensive utility in the magic shield. So not too bad in terms of getting damaged by the Cuckoo, but of course Susanna being a physical character, not too worried about that. Speaking of being worried, this Susanna's got to be careful that that speed buff doesn't get stolen, and yet it does.
Jump over the wall from the Odin. Runs in to kill Cam Kenny. The ultimate not gonna find a home and doesn't even clip. Okay, Club should be okay for an escape if they want that path. Behemoth knocked up, but no fight will ensue. Mid lane, Sunprod does see a wild Hecate, but the opportunity not going to be there. They go further. Odin going for the invade as well. Will he get it? Up, down. Looks like he did based off how aggressive Garf's Goblins are responding to it. So no speed, no purple, maybe even a double kill. Phantom Shells get dropped and the first blood goes to Alec. Hate Club might even have a second on the jump. No good, but damage way good. Drunk Diplomat goes down next. Sunprod willing to take the 1v3, but will think better of it and vanish out.
Yeah, poor Sunprod having the speed stolen away makes a beeline for the enemy speed buff. Yes, they do get it, but ooh, that is both the lives of your duo lane for a little bit of a greedy, selfish play out of the jungler. However, you're not mad about getting a speed buff if you're the jungler, right? You're just like, guys, man, I told you I was going for the speed buff. I'm a jungler. I need the speed buff. And,
I'm a jungler!
Almost getting, you know, in a little bit of danger there, being only level 4 around that engagement. If we had seen Behemoth be a little bit more brave with the cage, could have stuck the Susanoo in there and grabbed another kill for themselves. But speaking of another kill for themselves, it might happen onto Kill Cam Kenny, or maybe the reverse. They'll be able to get out of there, spend the ultimate, but does not get nothing out of that one. I
thought for a second the Odin got the red on the jump, and I would have been so shocked. Yeah, the timing of that would have been almost too perfect, very scripted. Sunprod steps up. Looked like there maybe was, yeah, it looks like Behemoth just wanted to grief Dest. I was curious why he was posturing so aggressive. It was just to stop the back.
Takes a tower shot to do that, by the way. Now, if that's not BM for you know, little payback what they're doing to the mid laner, I'm a proud mid laner if that's my jungler stopping that back.
Might need more support than that, though, should the ganks continue. One thing I wanted to mention when you were last talking about the fact that Tova can expect to continuously be ganked is on the Cuckoo, we didn't really see many ultimates be expended as the response. Garfield should be okay. Has pursued the weak. There it is. I was very confused why it wasn't being used. But Tova, that right there, that's what I was worried about. Open the gates committed. Aegis is early, and Typhoon gets the kill because of the early Aegis. And Lermy, that's what I was worried about. They're going to have to use the open the gates on cooldown every single time. It's not going to be up for team fights.
That is an unfortunate circumstance, right? That you are losing a really big utility ultimate on something like that. But if it can keep you alive, you know, that's pretty good. Unfortunate Panic Aegis, though, does not make it. Oh my gosh. Okay,
jumped in?
Thought, because Behemoth with the up down. I was not expecting that, to be honest with you. I was like, oh, he's got the cooldown. He's out. However, was not out. In fact, the opposite of getting out. Forced out.
I can't believe he jumped in. I was like, oh, he's okay. He's just going to jump away.
You have a little bit of, you know, you see the blood in the water. You're like, oh, I got this. I got this kill. I know my damage. And it was close. It was very close. I will say that. So they were almost there. But speaking of being almost there, Kukulkan almost to this duo lane. Pursue the weak coming through both the walls, but unsure how to get through there. Was Lord Garfield not able to make it through the walls and get much off of that, but pulling in this Ymir leads him to get taken down. Lots of ultimates expended, but Mario Bro may be in a little bit of danger here.
Behemoth, same story. Look at all the damage. Yeah, no walking here. No walking through Garf's Goblins. That's another pickup, a killing spree for Dest, and the Gold Fury is the call for Garf's Goblins. The Bacchus nearby. Hecate not interested. Losh does not have Sunder online. And Mario Bros being dove and might just die. That is the case indeed. Losh cannot get to the Gold Fury. This should be a free objective. Still trying to fight through. Instead takes the fight. The Intoxicate is there. Is the damage good enough? Maybe so. Because Cosmic Vibes is here. Gold Fury goes to Garf's Goblins. But at least a pick for Alec Club. Some positive in the sea of negatives.
Indeed. They did get a kill on the 2, 1, and 3 jungler now at this stage of the game, which is always nice to have, but they've got to just generally clean up across the board here. As we saw, Losh's Sunder was on cooldown for just a little bit longer around that fight, so it made it really hard to kind of jump in and know you're not making it out of this fight, but at least you can Sunder the Gold Fury. That wasn't even a possibility because Sunder was down at that point. I think it was used on the gank on the right-hand side when Neath ulted the Mordred. Secure, though, for the Queen Naga does go over to Alec Hate Club, which is not bad at all. You're happy to have those Nagas on your side. And the question is, I guess they've put it on the Odin at this point as the only other available option, but Tova's got to be careful. Life of the party comes on out.
We'll see how it goes down. Cosmic Vibes from the side, looking to help out their mid laner. The Odin jumps in, looking to kill Cam Kenny. Ultimates have already been expended. There's the freeze. But all the damage at first was finding its way into Alec Hate Club, but the Spell Eater turns it around. Kill Cam Kenny still hasn't died. Still hasn't died, finally dies, but it's bought time for Sunprod to blow everybody up, combined with Dest. There's a second pick from the fight. Tova, the last standing, pulled in and should be dropped down if anything hits. Dest, an auto, something gets it. A big time turnaround for Garf's Goblins in the mid lane.
Yeah, that is a really tough one. And speaking
Soloed.
of tough, the solo kill here for this Bacchus up against the Mordred. Their one spark of hope in an endless night is this solo laner. And we might see another solo on this left-hand side. Depends on how aggressive Mario wants to go. But thankfully, very even here with Drunk Diplomat. Takes a little bit of damage from the Baron's Brew. What a fun little +1 coming out for Baron as he makes his way into Smite 2. I love the fact that everyone can get a little crazy with their Baron's Brew now. And so I'm happy to see that we only have 4 Baron's Brews. Baron didn't pick up his own brew. Are you kidding me? What's going on here, man? Is it not the best brew you've ever made? You put your stamp of approval on it and you don't even have it?
Yeah, don't ever eat at a restaurant where the chef won't taste their own food type of thing.
Yeah, man. Wow. Okay. Well, maybe in a little bit we'll see it. Trade out the health chalice at some point for the brew, but warding, very important nowadays, of course, now that the wards have seen quite a bit of buffs since they were in the very first alpha weekends. So now that we're in full 24/7 release, happy to say that wards are once again relevant. And so happy to see someone pick them up.
Sunprod just lurking for Tova. Oh boy.
You already know
Tough
what's gonna
time to be a
happen.
Hecate. Combo. Oh, the ult force too. It all works out like clockwork for Garf's Goblins. They see Tova mid, they aggress. That's the instant response.
Oh, this is a choice.
Odin jumps in, cage out, doesn't find Sunprod, but now the damage onto Sunprod, a World Weaver committed to. Dash away, Cosmic Vibes, 2-man freeze. Can they find any picks from it though? It looks like Garf's Goblins might just get away with this. Life of the party, now a recommit, a Typhoon as well. All the shields in the world keeping level 100 Behemoth alive. That buys time for Losh, who's now here. But you've lost your jungler. Do you still want to fight? You've lost your support. Do not fight. Only retreat. Garf's Goblins, this fight's gone on so long that Tova's back in the mid lane.
And now that Tova's back, it might be a discussion around this gold here that comes up in the next 20 or so seconds, but we could also see folks reset. But no, instead, we are looking for timers, we're looking for more. And speaking of more, we got this Bacchus over here, our light in the darkness, right? He is coming on through, doing his best to make a difference here, but gonna have to hop away. We'll have the Sunder for the next engagement, but Gold Fury is already up. I'm hoping here that Losh's teleport through the portals is going to be available to make their way back to this fight very quickly, and it seems like it is, going up the left-hand side.
Airstrike committed. Cosmic Vibes waiting for the wall, but waiting gets knocked up. No freeze either. You're just taking damage, face tanking it at this rate. There's the 2-man knock-up coming out from Losh, but not any follow-up to help things out. Meanwhile, Sunprod diving in on Behemoth. there's no positives in this fight quite yet. Maybe there's one. A damage turned around on the Sun Prod. The jump will do it. Mario Bro combines, but did you waste too much to bring down one? His Garfield is here, takes out the Odin. Spirit doesn't find a home, and all the damage is trading out onto Alec Club. Will they find another? They do. Mario Bro cleans up Des, but it's turned back around, and now it's a mid laner dead for Alec Club. A 2 for 2. At the moment, when things are all said and done, Lord Garfield is still lurking.
Cosmic Vibes, the level 7 Ymir, very terrifying for the enemy team here. Unfortunately for this Ymir, not finding too much advantage when it comes to the levels against their direct opponent in the Baron, seeing 3 levels of success above. Finally getting that Spirit Robe online is an interesting choice, and I think especially a choice that I'm a little bit confused about myself is the Pharaoh's Curse for this Ymir. Considering the fact that Kukulkan has slow immunity and Baron can grant slow immunity to his team, this is not a choice that I would think to go for. It does have very solid stats, and it's got attack speed, which isn't terrible on Ymir, right? You get to get more of those Frostbite autos off, and that always feels good. However, the biggest thing that you get out of this is that slow and attack speed reduction, and I'm just a little surprised to see it in this particular matchup. I do think that something like a Spirit Robe, considering just how often this Ymir is getting yoinked around by either going up into the sky through Lord Garfield or getting pulled by Prodigy or, you know, whatever it might be. Kill Cam Kenny going into the life of the party and pulling him in. It's a good choice to have the Spirit Robe. Very, very efficient against a lot of CC, and certainly a great choice against triple frontline.
Rotations coming out to solo. Fight taken by Lord Garfield, but I don't know how much you want to take this one with all the backup on the way. World Weaver out. The stun. The block to pursue the weak is good. That should be a dead Mordred, and yeah, it looks like Lord Garfield accepted their fate, but the instant Gold Fury call from Garf's Goblins, aware of the map state. Teleporters used. Will Alec Club get there in time? Cosmic Vibes already taking some damage. Sun Prod participating in the allocate for sure. Gold Fury does go to Garf's Goblins. They now retreat. They will get the heist. They're going to run into an Odin on the way out, so Alec Club still pushing up from the side of the mid lane. Cage out, finds Sun Prod. Damage on. Is it enough? Maybe not. Cosmic Vibes is here and low. So is the Odin. Mario Bro does get one to start things off, but it's traded around. One pick for each ADC. Whew. Behemoth will get away, if not barely. A dangerous fight to pick there.
Oh, but ever more damage continues forward. This Kukulkan gets taken down. Double kill for the Neath, but Drunk Diplomat dashes in to grab one for themselves. Drunk Diplomat with 3 now, able to get another one from the
Drunk Diplomat.
The interesting choice coming from Behemoth to try and make something happen. Does indeed make something happen, but unfortunately that thing is his own death. Mario Bro going to be able to walk into this one, but whew, that was a little bit of a risky play, and it did turn out okay, right? The gold lead is 4K at this point in the favor of Garf's Goblins. It's not out of control just yet, but some questionable plays across the board, making risky moves to try and get back into it, but you're not out of it yet. That would be a play that I'd expect to see out of desperation in maybe 5-10 minutes, you know? We have time before things get out of hand. We don't need to make such extreme measures at this point.
I think that's what got me. It's the why are we feeling the need to go back in? I mean, Garf's Goblins are plenty happy with it. A Drunk Diplomat triple kill there. Mario Bro was doing fine enough, but I don't know. I'm going to be confused about that fight for a while. A pick up on to Drunk Diplomat, though, so all that gold that was being accumulated certainly helps out, going right back to Mario Bro, who finds themselves a Rampage. Pyromancer, half health. Cosmic Vibes pulled in. Behemoth here. Same thing with Dest. A lot of damage on to kill Cam Kenny. Look who's here from the side. Pursue the weak. Catches the Glacial Strike. Is the Cuckoo ult on target? No, not quite. Open the gates to slow down Garfield. All the CC in the world. Will the Phoenix Feather be enough? They still haven't killed the Mordred, and Des kills Cosmic for stepping too far. Next up might be Toba. Sun Prod will find it. The Typhoon. Does it knock up? No. They don't kill Behemoth quite yet. Shields on shields on shields. Can you get away from Sun Prod? Another one. The turnaround. Oh my God. Will he pop him? No. Sun Prod cleans it up despite 1,000 shields for level 100 Behemoth.
Those cooldowns were crazy, but this fight isn't done quite yet. Lush and Mario Bro trying to chase down this support Baron. The Phantom Shell comes out at the perfect time. Not going to be getting the heal for themselves, but makes enough space to get Sun Prod back in this fight. The question is he going to be able to catch up to this Neath? Looks like a no. Disengage coming out from both angles here, but man, what an engagement. We once again saw Behemoth get so close to taking down his opposition in the jungle, but unfortunately falls down yet again to an unlucky lack of damage. And that does go to show that, yes, you do have a lot of cooldowns, having 225 cooldown rate items, but cooldown does not directly translate into damage for Odin, unfortunately. So gonna have to be using those cooldowns a little bit wiser in the future to be able to either stay alive or get a kill.
I was actually gonna ask you about that. Is Losh doing a lot of numbies to Lord Garfield, World Weaver as well. Pursue the weak, caught. Will it turn around enough? That's a lot of damage. The belt, come on, gets it. Soloed again. A rarity for Lord Garfield. Now the back race, Sun Prod nearby. Won't try to sprint to it, so no pickup indeed. But yeah, we're seeing it, Lermy. You mentioned on one of the Titan talks, cooldown rate or damage, make your choice. Cooldown rate was the choice, and no dividends quite yet.
Yep, exactly. Behemoth lurking over here in this left-hand side might be trying to force out either the Active or the ult from Drunk Diplomat, but really it's going to be Killcam Kenny who's targeted here, taken down real fast between everybody.
Spirit 9 wins, hits 2, damage real good. Alec Club low, gone already. No more Tova. Airstrike finds a lot. Drunk Diplomat lands down. The crossbow bolts, looking for a lot. But Mario Bro does so much damage and is cleaned up by level 100 Behemoth. The last one standing over here is Dest in this fight. It really blew up for Garf's Goblins. Alec Club are staying in this off the back of fighting alone.
They really are trying to make things happen, and that is the benefit here, is that Mario Bro is level 19, but Mario Bro's not the one fighting anymore. It's Losh versus Dest. Dest pops the Phantom Shell, Losh pops the Sunder, tries to go for the kill, but Dest just does too much damage. The Pally, the Soul Reaver, the Book of Thoth fully stacked, all three of these things combined, especially in the Kukulkan, will lead that guy to having a ton of intelligence. That is one smart cuckoo.
I'm so surprised. So I want to go back because I'm still surprised by how good the fights look for Alec Club, and a lot of it's Mario Bro. You know, credit where it's due. In game 1, I personally harped on the lack of damage, and Mario Bro had no items to do anything. This game, Lermy, opposite story up to this point, as the two main objectives so far will be split on either side by both teams.
Yeah, the build did change from this game to the last. We saw them go for the Totem of Death instead of the Cosmic Horror. And Cosmic Horror, even though it's eaten quite a few nerfs in the past patches, is still incredibly strong, especially because it gives you a ton of int and a ton of cooldown rate when you get to that threshold. And so because of these double stacks here, and especially the Soul Reaver, which is, again, incredibly powerful item, you are getting to that point rather easily and able to continuously apply this Soul Reaver and take a bunch of max HP down from all of your opponents.
Your left tower is under attack.
Hard to get a feel for this game and where it might go, because I don't want to count out Alec Club the way we did in game 1, because the fights have looked so smooth. They're so in it. I mean, 6k gold, but you only hit level 20 once, and Alec Club have a member there in Mario Bro. In fact, they won the race in some aspects because nobody's even there for Garf's Goblins, and Garf themselves. They've been having a tough game. The focus continues, and this 21.5-minute fight could be a big one. Lots of names are all heading towards that right lane. Drunk Diplomat frontlining for the fight into Odin. Can they kill him quick enough? Pursue the weak? Does it lock it down?
Alive.
No, it doesn't. Now the cooldowns are up for the shield. How much time will this buy? Drunk Diplomat says none. And the crossbow to the forehead takes him out. Spirit of 9 wins. Will it find a lot? No. Open the gates to reposition. Does that help? No. Dest still able to clean up Tova. Finds a double with Cosmic. Drunk Diplomat with their own. And Mario Bro will be the last one to go. And Garf's Goblins force a deicide.
That is a 5-0 once again. It really seems like in these mid-game fights, as we slowly transition to the late game, and we are certainly here now, considering that tier 2 tower on this right-hand side has gone down, taken up this Phoenix. No minions quite yet, but they are right about there. And that's going to be the freest Phoenix of Garf Goblin's lives. especially nice to have that one next to the Fire Giant. If you are Alec K-Club, that's the one you'd rather lose when it comes to, you know, if you have your pick of the litter. But it's going to be very, very difficult to bring it back here. Now that the gold lead has spiraled over that past engagement from 6K to now it's a little over 11K difference, and it might be getting even bigger should they choose to go for this Fire Giant, but playing the safe one, going on back is Garf's Goblins. They'll reset and then go for this fire.
One fight. I was singing the praises of Alec Club. I was given the don't count them out type of energy. The script was there, but I mean, on fire now for Alec Club to fully come back into this game. The right side decimated, no Phoenix standing. Tier 2s in mid and left lane. All 3 Gold Furies have gone to Garf's Goblins so far. They've got all the effects cooking up. Ancient Fury around the corner. No bombs in pocket at the moment for Garf's Goblins. I guess that's a positive for Alec Club. But Lermy, those positives get slimmer and slimmer, and now your fight potential is even less.
We've been seeing a lot of great individual performances from Alec K-Club, but you gotta say the Garf's Goblins really has been playing like a unit, and that's been the big difference maker when it comes down to it. Can Alec K-Club play like a unit and bring this one back, or is it just going to be death one by one by one?
The one so far is a 1-for-1, one for each team. Can Alec Club do anything with it? Maybe not, because their support is gone. The pullback sealed the deal as Dest got the final hit in the 2 picks. A lot for Alec Club to deal with. They did get rid of the ADC, though, for Garf's Goblins, so that Fire Giant is significantly slowed down. Mario Bro, almost a bit of a pick here. Phoenix Feather to help out, but now you're turning around with the root. The Heart Slash isn't enough, it is. Lash goes down to Lord Garfield. Now Sunprod feels ambitious, goes into Mario Bro, and Dest helps clean it up. It's just falling apart, Lermy.
What a hell of a bait, though, with the Phoenix Feather, by the way. That item can be insane when used at pivotal moments. And that active, when it brings back all that health, guess what, guys? He's not almost dead. He's back in it. And using that at a very, very low state to get back 30% of your missing HP. If you're at 1%, that's essentially a full 30% of your health coming right on back. And that was just enough to bait, to make the space for Sunprod, for Dest, to get up in there, and kill Cam Kenny, of course, to set everything else up.
Wild game. I mean, a lot of times when we see sort of these competitive misplays, this sort of miscommunications in fights that we have seen a little bit from Alec Club, where you see one member go in, 2 members go back, or so on and so forth, it feels bad. It's been interesting because even when doing that, there's been so many good fights from Alec Club. But these last 2, they'd be morale breakers for lesser teams, I think, because Garf's Goblins look so sort of unmatchable in those fights. And Alec Club, I mean, they've got Mario Bro. The damage from that Neath is surreal. Can you continue to play around that, Lermy, or are you just running out of options?
It's difficult, right? Because we've been seeing Behemoth try to make something happen, right? They get in there first and try to mix up the fight, but I really want to see their mentality here shift, where Alec Club need to focus on protect versus engage. We've been seeing, again, the Cage come out, trying to make something happen, trying to get that pick, but we need to realize here that this prioritization around cooldown isn't necessarily going to be what's going to deal the damage. You're not going to be killing people with this build. You are, however, going to be shielding a lot, stunning a lot, putting a lot of cages down, and we need to focus around that aspect versus I'm going to try and pick the Jingwei, or I'm going to try and pick the Cuckoo, or things of that nature. If we can just protect the Neath, protect the Hecate, these fights are going to turn around real quick.
Garf's Goblins are very forward in the jungle, looking for a pick to set up either Fire Giant or Game End, depending how it goes. Behemoth is the look, life of the party through the door that was opened by the Odin. Spirit of the 9 Winds, they want this Odin dead. The Whirlwind will not get it. The shield comes up in time. So a lot of commitment, but no pick. Alec Club see it as an opportunity, question mark, and walk to Fire Giant. Sunprod sees it, sees Tova, damage on, not enough for the kill. The repositions out, the open the gates, not gonna be in time to save the Hecate. Pursue the weak, help Sunprod get the pick. and Garf's Goblins are taking advantage of the overzealous play from Alec Club, and the damage is all finding a home. They drop one by one till the last one standing is the Bacchus, and Garf's Goblins might be poised to take this game.
It does look like it with 5 versus 1, all marching into this Titan room. It's going to be up to Losh to try and get something done here. Does have the ultimate up, but there is a lot of damage on this Titan. That looks like it's going to be the end for Losh and the end for Alec Club in this set. Moving on to the next round.
Wow, Garf's Goblins, I talked about the team fight of Alec Club. It looked good a couple of times, but those last few fights, Garf's Goblins would not be denied. And I was even a little worried about the overambition on the pick onto the Odin. Everything was getting dropped for that Odin, especially when the door opened. They're like, oh, we got the kill here. The shield came up. And, you know, honestly, Lermy, they could have used that play, they being Alec Club, and just positioned for fire, set up some wards, waited for a flank, but instead the ambitious call to pull the fire giant, and it blows up in their face.
Yes, exactly. We saw a lot of ambition from this team, but unfortunately, there just wasn't enough of that collaboration between these teams to make sure that they understood what their capabilities were, right? Because certainly their ideas were all good. Genuinely, they had the right idea when it comes down to what they should be doing at any given time. They just didn't have the insight to fully understand how much damage it takes, how quickly we had to do things, how soon enemies would be rolling up, where they were coming from, etc., to make all of these things happen. So I think when they go into their next set, what they really need to do is to diagnose their calls, because their calls, again, if they were in a perfect position, they're the right calls to be making, but they need to learn how to bring those calls a step back, right? When you're not in that winning position, you have to change the mentality. You have to play a little bit differently. You can't always play like you're 20K up, because soon enough you'll be 20K down.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's the idea of the ambitions were there, the play calling was there. I know we talked a lot about how you can't have decision paralysis. A lot of that was good for Alec Club, but the execution, if you make plays that are that risky, has got to be there, and that's the reason it's a risky play in the first place, right? And this time it did not quite work out for sure. But reminder, both of these teams, they were 1-1 in the Swiss stage, so not quite going home, not quite moving on, but a lot of experience is learned as they do move forward. Alec Club towards that 1-2 side, and then a 2-1 side for Garf's Goblins, which, you know, one of the teams that I think deserves more eyes now, especially, you know, you can say a lot about the team they went up into with Alec Club here, but you can't deny good team fighting, and you can't deny good playmaking, and that's a lot of stuff Garf's Goblins continue to do.
Exactly. I'm always impressed to see how Sun Prod continues to mix it up in these fights. They definitely are making waves, is this team of Garf's Goblins, and I'm excited to see how they fare up against a lot more of these teams, because again, this mid-jungle synergy of Sun Prodigy and Dest is incredible. I mean, you
So
can see
good.
it in their stat lines, right? Their KDAs, 14, 2, and 15 for Dest, 11, 4, and 17 for Prodigy. I am just inspired by these two so far.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the Garfs, you know, Garf's Goblins. Lord Garfield has reason to be proud of his goblins today. They performed well, because in the last few weeks, even in SMITE Too Long Didn't Watch, there's been so much attention put on Lord Garfield, myself included.
Mhm.
Of it's Lord Garfield's team, you play around your solo laner, but this time it just was not the case. It was, like you said, that mid jungle synergy was shining through, and that was that set. But lots of sets going on, so let's check bracket, get ourselves reoriented with what's going on in the North American side of the Swiss stage. That was Alec Club versus Garf's Goblins. It was a 2-0 for Garf's Goblins. You see first name Zach on there, some names we saw yesterday, Secret Service with the 2-0 for Look Within. They were all in that 1-1 side. Down to the 0-2 side, all those teams, they're not eliminated if they lost. They go to the last chance qualifier. If you won, you head up to the 1-2 side. Later on today, we're going to have ourselves Cowabunga versus Name in Progress on the 2-0 side. One of those two teams will be locking themselves down a spot straight to playoffs, Lermy. And if you win the 2-0 here, you get a lot of time to relax and prepare.
Yeah, that is the exciting part, right? It's just seeing the patches come through, continuing to prepare for those upcoming fights that you will have to take. But like you said, just a little bit more downtime to enjoy a lot of that versus having to fight it out in fierce competition, right? But honestly, that's not a bad deal either. You keep getting practice, you keep getting these official matches, but wouldn't it be nice to have your slot secured? Wouldn't it be nice to be done with it and know that you are secure in those playoffs and you will be playing there for the chance towards Vegas and advancing even further?
Well, one thing cool too about us, kind of sprinting through that first game. If you can't get enough Smite, we got Smite right around the corner. Not a very long wait until our next matchup between Cowabunga and Name in Progress. About less than 10 minutes or so, we'll have that matchup on tap for you. So that'll be exciting to jump right into some more Smite Lermy, because the waits are cool to take your breather, collect yourself, but sometimes it's fun to just keep it rolling and keep the action
Oh,
cooking.
yeah. I mean, after that last set when we saw all those teams go crazy, I'm really excited to see what Cowabunga and Name in Progress have to bring to the table here. This, again, is the qualifier match, so whoever wins this is going to playoffs, and that's what I'm excited to see.
And a big chance for Name in Progress to make a name for themselves, because man, there's been a couple upsets. We had the food drive for Glove upset over Scrumptious, but if Name in Progress can pull this off against Cowabunga, what a way to make a name for yourself. I
Mhm.
cannot think of a better team right now to be able to do that with than Cowabunga. We'll see if they can do it. Reminder, less than 10 minutes. We meet back here for more Smite action. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be back soon.